Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Silent Man Podcast. I'm your host, Javier Talamantes. Thank you so much for allowing me to come into your space and giving me permission to speak. From my point of view, my life, the experiences that I've had in my life, the work that I've done on myself, continued work, and I'll make this reference. Me and my son were having this conversation, and so I'll get ahead of myself. But he mentioned, "Hey, so Dad, so you're healed, right?" And I said, "No, son, no, I'm not healed. I'm coping, and on an everyday basis, I cope." I cope with what's going on. I cope with all these different feelings. And think about it like fireworks, right? They're all coming at you, and you're trying to dodge things and, making sure you're not hit by something and get hurt, right? So it's the same thing. And like I told my son, I go, I'm not healed, son. I'm not. I'm coping, and I'm doing the work, and I'm working through it on a day moment by moment basis daily. Like I always say, 365 days a year, it never stops. We're always doing some type of work on ourselves. So on that note, I want to go ahead and let everyone know that in our social media platforms, and also here we'll go ahead and put information on where you can request the Silent Manifesto. That's something that I went ahead and created for all of you. That definitely helps me, and to read it, to immerse in it, and then to really take it in and make it part of what I'm going through, right? For almost like a deep explanation of why I'm feeling what I feel and why I've felt what I felt. So please go ahead and request that. It's a gift from me to you. Okay, so I'm going to start with I take my son every day to school, and the other day, I was taking him to school, and we do practice podcasts, right? And so it was just basically record, and I'll just talk and just kind of flow and see what comes out of it. And the other day, I just started talking, right? And I came up with the story about Johnny, and so Johnny's got a successful business. He's got an amazing family. He's got three beautiful children. One more on the way. We'll make it four. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got a grandchild as well, and he works, right. And so first thing in the morning, he wakes up, gets his son ready for school. And now understand, guys, I'm telling the same story to my son, right? And he's sitting next to me, but through the lens, right? And I say, yeah, wake up in the morning, and go out to go downstairs, set up the breakfast, get everything ready so we can get on the road. And and after that, Johnny's day is already in motion. And so Johnny was a caller. He called into the show, and he's basically saying he feels isolation, feels loneliness. He feels like he's got a lot of pressure, and he feels like he's not doing the best job raising his kids. He feels like he's not there when they need him. He's got a lot of things going on, and his day becomes reality when he drops his son off. And at that moment, he's got to take some time to just kind of figure out what his next move is going to be, what his next step, and which direction he's going to be heading in. So, in the practice podcast, I tell him, hey, thanks so much, Johnny, for calling in. Well, look, we're here for you. I've got tools that I'm going to go ahead and give to you. And I want you to understand that, you're not alone. We're all going through things like this. But I am going to give you tools in regards to how to go ahead and isolate these moments that you're having throughout the day, and then be able to go ahead and join our buddy system, where you can have a full-time buddy. And if not, you can have multiple buddies where you've got people that you can just reach out to, make a phone call, and then just, and then just stop everything, and then just make it about just you, right? And they would listen to you, right? And think about it like a coach, right? And so the coach would just listen to you, which in this case would be a buddy, and the buddy would just basically say, okay, you know what? I understand what you're going through. Why? Because, if you're in it and you're the one with the problem and you're the one that's going through it, it's going to be almost impossible to find a solution for it. Okay. And I'll tell you that even me, I've done tons and tons and tons of work. And even sometimes I just get stuck with, okay, how do I get out of this? Right. So, like I said, we're going to go ahead and continue to give you tons and tons of tools. Stay tuned. The channel's growing, and we're also going to start having events to basically further support, everything that you're going through, and know that you're not alone, and that you've got all these other men that are going through similar things like yourself. So then, I switched over, brought out another story, and the other story was, Juan's calling in, to the show. He wants to go ahead and kind of, let us know that he's having a hard time, right? He's having a hard time, and he's got a family. Family's growing, and and it's a lot, right? It's a lot. It's just things are just going on around him. Things are firing in different directions. He's got to juggle and find ways to, not only be there for his family, but also, be there to go ahead and fix issues with work, and then, and then juggle with, having a career and how to grow the career, and, bills are piling up and bills are being paid out, and okay. And so it was just a lot for him to be coping with. And he needed some type of relief, right? He needed somebody just to listen to him. And so it was therapeutic, because he called into the show, and he was able to go ahead and get relief, right? And I told him the same thing. I said, look, Juan, you've got all these tools that we're going to be giving you, as gifts to go ahead and put into your toolbox and be able to pull these out at any time. And like I said, once again, we've got the buddy system. And so, I ended the so-called call, when I was doing the test podcast. So that happened that day. And then right when, I was finishing up, I got to my son's school and said, okay, my son said, okay, Dad, I love you. Because that's something that we practice every single, day, and if not many times a day. But it's, having that love. And if you guys have seen my previous episode with me and my father, where I was just holding his hands, and, how powerful the relationship became because of that. It's exactly the same type of relationship that I practice on an everyday basis with my son and my kids. And, and I just let them know that, I'm there for them, and I love them, and I want them to, to be the best version of themselves also. And so, he gets out of the car, and then I take off, and then, so interesting enough, the next day, we do the whole song and dance, get them ready, get some breakfast, jump in the car, head down to the school. It's about 30-minute drive. And so, I start another conversation, because my son, even though he's 11, we have like adult conversations. And so this time when I'm talking to him, I'm like, hey, so what did you think about, the test podcast I did yesterday? And he's like, hey, Dad, like that was great. Like, Johnny and Juan, and, like you were really helping them. And he says you were giving them tools. You were like, you were really, you know, uh, taking care of them. Like you were there for them. And I said, yeah, son, in this world, it's about being of service, not only to other men, to our families, but the people that surround us. So then I told him, hey, son, what would you say? Excuse me. I said, hey, son, what would you say if I told you that Johnny and Juan are actually me? And his jaw just dropped. And he was like, Dad, why don't you tell me? Is like he's not dramatic, but he was sincerely, like, he got affected by it, right? And he's like, Dad, why don't you tell me, like, you're depressed, you're going through all these things, I can help. And I was like, no, son, like, you have to understand that men go through these things, and unfortunately we don't talk about them. And that's why you never know these things. And I said, and it's the reason that we started the Silent Man podcast, so we can be of service to other men and help them heal, right? Heal themselves. Because that's where my son basically said, excuse me. So that's where my son basically said, Dad, so are you healed? And I said, no, son, no. I'm coping, and I'm working on myself, and I'm exploring things, and I'm trying different things, and and I'm isolating moments of the day, and and when things that I have problems, or I find solutions, and I'm always working on something, right? And he says, oh my gosh, thank God, like, oh, I thought you were just gonna, you were just depressed. And I said, no, son, the good thing is, like I said, I'm strong, and I'm able to get past these moments. But I said, not everyone is like that, and there's a lot of men out there that technically, go through very, very traumatic things, and in some cases, going back to past episodes where I've talked about, 70 to 80% of the things that you learn, that you take into adulthood as a programs, are basically learned from 48 years old. And this is a very, I mean, if you really think about it, it's just an amazing time in your life of 4 to 8 years old that you learn, 70 to 80% of what you're going to take into adulthood. That means we're technically big kids, We're not like adult men, we're big kids. Because what did we learn when we were 4 to 8? I mean, so that takes me back to being able to, teach you how to create new programs that will, give you support, that will also give you strength, that will give you that ability to become vulnerable, to allow people to help you. Because help, in a sense, doesn't have to be the way we think it is. It could sometimes be, somebody that just listens to you when you're not being heard. It could be somebody that's there for you when nobody is there for you. And it could just be a moment in the day where they call, or you're able to call them, and they're able to just listen. And if not, they're able to give you the gift of, some type of experience that they've had in their life. And remember, guys, this all has to do with permission, right? So please ask for permission before you go and start calling people and saying, hey, I got the gift, I can fix you. And I said, there's no way we're going to just do that. Ask for permission, and then allow the other parties, to give you, ask for permission, and they will give you the like let's say the green light to be able to, and it could look something similar to like something as simple as this. Hey, Johnny. Hey, listen. I heard what you're going through. Do you mind if I give you some advice? I went through something similar, and then you just and think about it, not physically, but just in your mind, just like almost like stepping back, which you're stepping out of their comfort zone, right? Because we all have this comfort zone. And then Johnny comes back with, you know what? If you've gone through something similar to this and you can help me, please, by all means, like just just please talk to me. And there you have the permission, right? And you've got the ability now to be able to help them because now they're open. They're open. Think of it like a satellite dish, right? Now they're open to receive, right? But think about it this other way. Hey, Johnny, I heard about your problems. Let me tell you what you should do. And it's like, that's not something that people need to listen to when they're going through things, right? That's the last thing that they need. Or you know what? Or if I was you, or you give me the story. We don't need to know the full story, guys. What we need to know is, have we asked for permission? Did we get consent? And are we able to go ahead and give advice based off of our own experiences? So just understand that and keep that in mind. I think it'll make for a better relationship for all of us men that are doing the work of the silent man to basically bring a voice to the unheard. So let me give you a couple of things quickly. We got a new tagline for the man who says nothing but feels everything. We also have our own mission statement. The Silent Man is a podcast created for adult men, fathers, husbands, sons, brothers, and singles who silently carry the weight of daily pressures, emotional turmoil, and unanswered questions. It is a space for men from all walks of life, regardless of social status, to find solace, support, and strength in hearing and sharing the unspoken. In a world where masculinity is too often defined by stoicism, the silent man gives voice to internal battles. The relentless fight to suppress feelings, the struggle to maintain stability for others while breaking inside, the need for brotherhood and understanding, the recalibration of thoughts after trauma, loss, failure, and burnout. And so this is such a powerful, like, the words are so powerful because it speaks volumes in regards to what we've been speaking about in regards to the program, right? The program is exactly in a very like a simple form. It's a recalibration of your mind, right? I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't have education. I'm not this. I'm not that. So that's all the negativity that we don't even need anyone to tell us, because we're so great at telling ourselves that. When we allow our mind to go ahead and take a life of its own and start basically saying of all the things in our past that we've basically, have come up short, shortcomings, possibly not taking responsibility, accountability. So all those things is when the mind takes over, because we become a weak version of ourselves. And when we become a weak version of ourselves, we allow any and all negativity to start creeping in, right? And then if we start believing it, guess what? The mind doesn't know it's doing good or bad. All it knows is it's filling a void, right? And so we have to be very careful with what we allow into our own minds. Because like I said, this is not coming from the outside, guys. Everything that's going on within us, it's within us. And so then again, we get back to the all-powerful, mighty choice, right? The choice that we have to either change, to stay in the same position, or to take it like adversity, right? And when adversity hits, you do something different over and over and over until you find a different solution for what is going to help you get past this moment, right? Because remember, guys, there's no such thing as bad days, but bad moments happen to all of us, right? And it can happen at the worst time. And sometimes it can be compounded by one bad moment after another. And next thing you know, you got 10 bad moments and they're all circling. And it's like, and you feel like you're overwhelmed. And when you feel overwhelmed, it's like anything else. It's like when you have a fever. Body shuts down and starts fighting, right? But in this case, you shut down and you stop fighting. And all you're doing is just taking all that pressure, and it's becoming almost like like a tea kettle, right? And it's just starting to whistle. It's ready to blow. And so we have to be very careful with allowing all that pressure to build up. When the other side of it would be, let's take one moment at a time and let's deal with it, and then let's get past that. So thank you so much for once again allowing us to start working with you, and we look forward to seeing you at the events. We look forward to seeing more of you online. Give us your comments, like, click, and subscribe, and then watch us at all of the other different social platforms. Thank you so much.